Okay, folks, today we're gonna do a new blog, and it's going to be, as you can hear, in English. Um, so fasten your seatbelts, my dear Dutch listeners. This is a brazen attempt to jump from 16 subscribers to maybe 20, or who knows, 25. Just to broaden the appeal a little bit. And to do this, I want to revisit two of my previous themes that we discussed in Dutch some time ago. And these two themes are Donald Trump and the stock markets. They're also interlinked, as we shall see. Now, on Donald Trump, all I need to say, I think, is, well, so, I told you so, no? He's been a huge success. Even though, like the New York Times and the Guardian and what have you are still trying to disenfranchise him, he has proven a resounding success, I think. First of all, which was really, for us Trump lovers, it was a great moment when, obviously, when this Russia thing blew out of the water, because that's when we all knew, that the left would throw a hissy fit and be very upset with the fact that they didn't catch anything in this whole Russia procedure. And so that was a wonderful thing to happen. But what's much more important, I think, is that he has, in fact, been doing a great job. I'd like to take China as an example. His China policy was at first very controversial, it was like, oh dear, you can't start a trade war. Trade wars are terrible things, everybody loses, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, I think, that it's about time that America stands up to China for exactly the reasons that Trump cites, i.e. that China has been taking a huge advantage of the United States, and as many other countries have, actually. And it's time to reset the balance before China becomes actually a larger power than the US. So some American president had to call a halt to this exploitation. And Trump just did so because he believed in it, and he saw it was the right thing. And at first there was a lot of criticism, obviously from everywhere. How could you do that? But now I understand quietly, the European Union, just to name one area, is going in exactly the same direction. So he saw that one really right, I think. And also Iran. Iran, apparently there are now, US Navy vessels steaming up to Iran, and nobody is quite sure why, but obviously they're looking to put pressure on Iran, just to, I guess what they're trying to do is force out those really corrupt mullahs who have, infantilized Iran. The beautiful people of Iran have just been crushed by these guys, and they're also lining their own pockets like there's no tomorrow. So good thing if these guys get crushed by the United States, and good thing that Trump canceled this silly deal, about, them not having to do certain things in the nuclear field, not even everything. They were still allowed to do stuff, and in return, they could do business with the world. What an awful deal, and what a great thing that Trump called a halt to that. Listen, wait a minute, I'm just trying to rack my brain for some other examples. Oh yeah, you got the whole North American trade deal completely renegotiated within the space of a few months, which is obviously fantastic, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that Trump And then I'm coming to the other benefit of Trump, and that is on the markets. Now, here is a president, and he's obviously a guy who made a lot of money and has a lot of money invested and understands the economy. And it's true that the economy hasn't been doing better than under Trump. The economy and the stock market, and that's because the business community has some real confidence in this guy, because he has also got something at stake, and that's why he wants the markets to do well. And the markets, I think, are counting on him to bail them out basically at any turn of the cycle. So they finally feel that they have a president who also has a vested interest in the markets, as opposed to Obama, who was kind of penniless, I guess. Not now, mind you. Huh? Now he's writing biographies, and his wife has become some sort of a rock star, and now they're raking in the millions. But when he was president, he was basically clueless about the markets. And Bush was, he didn't have the brain power to understand the markets, and et cetera, as you go back. But now, for the first time in history, you have a guy who is, really invested. And he pulls no punches, basically. He's even criticizing the Fed for their rate policy, and I think probably rightly so, and saying that if the Fed hadn't raised rates, the markets would be up zillions more. But anyway, the message that he strongly gives off is that here's a president that understands the markets and wants to do good by them. And and then when we take a closer look at those markets, I just want to quickly review some of those stocks that I mentioned earlier that I think might be doing quite well in this environment. And I just want to stick to two. Remember that I had sort of the thesis that there's always, at any given moment in time, there's a stock developing that will go up so much that you will never have to work again if you own it. And people can always point to examples from the past, like Microsoft and what have you, Apple and such like. But there's also stock right now that is doing well already, most probably doing really well already, that will still make you tons of money in the years to come. And I mentioned two examples in my earlier blog, maybe a year ago or so, I don't remember. And those were Amazon and Netflix. And both of them have been doing really well since. And I still believe that both of them are stocks that you can own and that you should tuck away and that you should not look at, and that could be a huge upside surprise to you when you have a fresh look at them in, say, 5 years' time, and for those of us who are really patient, 10 years' time. As a caveat, I have to say that I also bought some Tesla shares. That's basically. That may have been a slightly less smart move, to be honest, because as the great Warren Buffett always said, a great company is not necessarily a great stock, and a great leader like Elon Musk, perhaps even less will translate into a great stock. But I own some of that stuff because I own the car, and the car is just fantastic. It's a dream. I don't particularly care about cars, but this one is like a flying carpet. I just enjoy driving it, and it's the future, and it's been created by a guy with a lot of creativity and insight, and it even has a facility for making the chairs fart, which is genius, of course, and it's all down to Elon Musk. But Elon Musk is a little bit of a different story. I very much like the guy. He's got many balls in the air. It's very dicey as to whether Tesla is going to be a sound proposition in the future. I think he'll make it, but it's not at all guaranteed, even though his product is wonderful. But Amazon and Netflix, I think, are pretty safe bets at this stage, and that's about what I want to say about it up to now. Thank you.